And alright guys, back at it again with the IB squad again.
IB squad!
And we're gonna be talking about college, and college. Mano, start us off here.
So in this video we'll be mostly talking about college applications. That includes applications towards colleges, scholarships, FAFSA, and more. Starting off with college applications. Now, in particular, the two most common ways to apply for college is to apply directly to the college. Usually they will have a way to a kind of like website or whatever for their college to apply to their college, and some colleges will have their applications also on Common App, an app where you can apply to multiple colleges at the same time with one application. Now, Common App is a great way to apply to colleges that do have options for Common App, and through Common App you can apply to multiple colleges. Now what I mean by this is, first of all, you will make a profile. What that means is you enter, for example, all your grades from freshman till senior year. You also enter in your personal information. You will also enter in all your different kinds of extracurriculars, courses that you've taken, all that, so that you don't have to do that every time you apply to a college. Now, when applying to colleges, you usually will have to write essays, supplementary essays, main college essay. Now, a main college essay is required for any college application. And what you write on those college, like the main college essay, will be explained by my three friends over here.
So, essentially, the college essay, I'll be honest, it's like any other essay. You structurize it intro, middle, end. But with this one, you want to make it personal to you. And also, I mean, some people do there's many methods to like the college essay. Mostly making it personal, but some people do a little bit of making the reader feel bad so they can get accepted. But honestly, what I did was I talked about my interests and like how it related to college and why I wanted to go to that specific college. You don't exactly have to say why you want to go to a specific college. It could just be broad, considering it's just like your main college essay. So yeah, just talk about your interest. For me, it was healthcare, and I essentially like how I grew from my challenges, like how I not grew from my challenges, but how I had weaknesses and I grew from those. I like to hear about that and make it, yeah, like I said, very personal and very you. It's like you're introducing yourself in this college essay. You're telling them about yourself and why you should essentially go to that college and why you would be a great candidate. And yeah.
The college essay, the essay that you sent to the college is their first reference of you as told by you. You are presenting yourself, and you're presenting your reasons, and you're presenting why you should be accepted. Because a lot of colleges, they do use the personal essay as a standard or as a reference for whether or not they should accept you. Because sometimes there have been I'm sure you hear in the news all the time, or there are cases where people get accepted into colleges purely based off how good their essay was. A lot of colleges, they look at two things. They look at your stats, like your GPA or your and like your grades. They look at your transcript, and they look at your ACT test scores. So transcript, test scores, GPA. And then they look at the personal stuff, like who you are. That's where the personal essay comes in. And a lot of lower acceptance rate, Ivy League, big colleges, they look at they will ask you to submit an essay about why you want to go there. So the two parts of what they're considering is they're considering your numbers, what you've achieved, and then they're looking at you. They'll look at your personal essay, what college means to you and what this would mean to you. They look at why you want to go to their college in particular. They look like what your reasons are, and they look at like your extracurriculars and how they relate to the college that you're applying to. Like if you're if you're on like the ski team and you apply to a college in the South and they see that, even if you have stellar grades, they probably aren't going to let you in because that doesn't align with your interest. It doesn't make sense for you to go to college in Florida if your like biggest hobby and your biggest extracurricular thing is skiing. That doesn't really make sense.
Now, the thing that is very important is definitely the college essay. So how do you write one of those college essays? Now, the first thing you need to consider is, since this essay is going to be about yourself, you need to find something interesting to lead the person into your presentation. So, for example, if you were selling an item, how would you make it interesting? In this case, you'd be selling yourself. But anyways, so when you sell yourself, when you try to sell yourself for a college,
when you're trying to impress a college with your essay.
My bad.
So basically, you want to have something that's uniquely you, because
You want a hook.
the essay, you want to
Yeah.
hook, because the essay reviewers go for so many people's essays.
They're like,
You want them to be like, oh, this person's interesting.
yeah, they don't want to be memorable. You don't
Yeah.
want to boring.
So that's what you want in the personal essay. Basically, they just want to see if you fit in with the college. So you want to kind of be honest, because you don't want to go to college that wouldn't be good for you either.
So since we're on that topic, what kind of hook did you guys use for your essays?
Oh, my hook. I started with my communication issues, and how essentially, like, when I was younger, I struggled with communication, and I still struggle with it. But then when I was in IB, like, it helped me out. So I guess it's just like something fun to immerse your reader in, like keep them reading. Because if you go into a story and it's boring at the beginning, then you're gonna think it's boring throughout, and then you're gonna go with that perception that it's boring, and then they're gonna be harsher on your stuff. So try and make it interesting.
Exactly. I started out my essay with talking about how I was switching schools and the challenges that presented, like throughout switching schools in the middle of the year. So that's how we intended to hook the person who was reading my college essay.
Another thing is, you don't want to just focus on your background, what happened in the past. You want to relate that to how it formed you to be who you are, and how that's going to affect your college experience.
And then another tip about like writing your college essay, you want to like make sure your timeline is linear. You don't want to keep going back and forth. It might confuse a like reader, and then
Also, with supplemental essays, many, other than the essay that asks, like, why do you want to go here, or something along those lines, many of the supplementals are the same. Or, just like you can reuse the personal essay, you can also reuse supplementals occasionally. I would say also with these college writing, you really want to start it early, maybe like in the summer before your senior year. Like, and you definitely need to start it in the fall, because the earlier you get it done with, the earlier you can keep like revising it, looking over it, making it better. And there are opportunities that are only available to you earlier in the year, like early action. So basically, there are 3 types of applying to colleges, and different colleges have different combinations of these. There's early action, which is where you apply in the first wave of college applications. So this one is normally linked to early decision. Early decision is where you apply, you only do early decision to one college, and if you get in, it's a promise that you will go there upon acceptance. And that is normally at the same time as early action, but those are just 2 different modes. And then there is regular decision, which is where everyone is accepted at the same time. And early decision normally has a higher acceptance rate than the other 2. There's also a 3rd type of college, or a 4th, just a 2nd type of college admission, where it's rolling, whereas you just apply over a wide range of times, and then they accept you a certain amount of period of time after you apply. And those ones are normally more lenient.
No cap.
Yeah. Also, there normally you need recommendations, which is just a letter from your teacher that tells what their honest opinion is of you. So you really want to get a teacher that that you're on good standings with, or knows you well. Because even if they like you or they think you're a good student, if you haven't had them like 1 or 2 years, like you normally want to have one that you've had in a previous year as well as you have currently, so they have more personal information to give about you that'll make you stand out.
You can also request letters of recommendation from people who aren't necessarily teachers, or I think sometimes they require them from require at least one from a teacher. But a lot of the times colleges will have an extra recommendation where you can like ask for a coach, or you can ask for, like in my case, I did mock trial, and our mock trial like leader was like the dean of the school. You can ask for letter of recommendations from like people from teachers from other schools. Maybe you switch schools. You can ask for letters of recommendations from people who aren't necessarily your teachers, but they are teachers and they're people who you're close to. So basically, when it comes to getting recommendations, make sure you are getting them from the people who best know you and best know what you can do, and people who will have whose words will have impact. Asking your best friend to write a letter of recommendation isn't going to be as strong as getting like an actual teacher and someone with qualifications.
I don't think that's possible. But yeah, and also you want to ask your recommender ahead of time so they can really focus on the essay and write it, because you have to also compensate for how long it takes them to write it, and also if other students or other people have asked them as well, it's a lot. So you want to make sure you ask them ahead of time. And on the topic of that, like doing things ahead of time, as Ezra was saying, like you want to do your college essays ahead of time, so that leaves more opportunity for things like college scholarships. Because I remember I didn't do mine ahead of time, so I didn't have that much time for college scholarships.
Also, when you pick you should begin the process of investigating what colleges you want to apply to, because there's a lot of colleges out there, at least in junior year or the beginning of senior year, because you want to apply to probably more than one college, because you don't want to get rejected from college and then not have anywhere to go. So basically, there are 3 categories normally. There's the safeties, the reaches, and like the ones that match colleges. So safeties are ones that you know you're going to get into. Normally you can check this by looking up their like average scores and GPA, and if your GPA is like way higher than theirs, then you'll probably get in. But then you also want to apply to mid-range schools that you're probably like an average student there, and then also you can apply to reaches if you want to, where you're not likely to get it, but you can. But you want to at least have 1 or 2 safeties to fall back on, unless you don't get into the other ones that you apply to.
Also, make sure you are applying to colleges that align with your interests. You should go to colleges that have the best programs suited towards you. So like if you want to go into a law school, or if you want to go into law, make sure you're going to a school that excels in law. Maybe you want to go into like childcare, make sure you go into a school that excels in their childcare department. It doesn't necessarily matter what the acceptance rate is, as long as their programs, so you think that their programs can reliably support what you want to do. I wouldn't listen to people who say, oh, you have to get into Harvard, you have to get into all the Ivy Leagues, you have to get into these big schools. Because sometimes it's better to just go to the school that maybe has a lower acceptance rate, but it suits you, it's at a reasonable price, and you will enjoy it there. You want to make sure you're going to college for you and not for other people.
You also have to consider financial aid. So basically, there are two types of financial aid. You can get grants from the governments, and then you can also get financial aid packages from the school. So basically, financial aid packages is you get one when you're accepted, and it says how much you're gonna have to pay, and this varies person to person when you fill out the FAFSA, which is the government organized device used to show the colleges how much you can pay for college. Normally, their offers to you consist of partly loans and partly grants. Grants are amounts of money that they give you that don't have to be repaid. So normally these are granted to you based on how much money you can pay. And then also there are loans, which obviously need to be paid back. There are two types of loans: subsidized loans. They don't occur any interest while you're in school, but unsubsidized loans, start gaining interest as you're in school. So you're gonna want more subsidized and less unsubsidized loans when you're accounting for which college you want to go to. Another type of scholarship is private scholarships. These are found outside of the school by organizations or peoples that are going to give you grants. So you want to apply to as many of those as you can. And often when you apply to those, you can reuse essays that you used in college. Maybe they want you to put your personal essay, or maybe you wrote some supplementals that can be applied there.
Yeah. And make sure that you also apply for the FAFSA as well, because that really relates to your financial aid, and it's also gonna impact how much financial aid your college gives you. That's the main source of your financial aid, the FAFSA. Because if you don't fill it out, and make sure you fill it out correctly, because they will catch you if you're lying. I wouldn't recommend lying on that. So yeah, what were you gonna say?
Make sure you're checking what you're getting into when you apply to a college. Make sure you check how much money is going into what. You should always check the tuition rate and whether or not the tuition rate aligns with your financial state, and you think you can get enough financial aid for it. You also have to check what is required of you when going into the school, because different schools will have different requirements, whether or not you have to pick out, because some schools have dining halls and other schools don't. Some schools will they'll give you a whole plan, and they'll give you a whole meal plan, and they'll still provide food for you. But other schools, they won't do that. So you have to make sure you know what you need from your college. Make sure you check the college website and you check what they're giving you, what they're not, what you have to pay for textbooks, what you don't need to pay, what they're covering, or what you need to cover. Make sure you check what the college is providing for you, and make sure you check what you need to bring to college to be prepared.
Another consideration is whether you want to live on campus or out of campus. Normally, if you go to a local school that's maybe near you, you might want to live from home to save money, because living on campus is rather expensive.
They will charge you for that.
Yeah,
No cap.
along with food bills and stuff. And you just want to consider how much a school is going to be before you apply, or because you want to have options that you can afford. So in general, state schools are probably going to be cheaper, but you also can investigate what kind of financial aid programs schools have. So some schools are loan free. That means that they base it based on your FAFSA, how much you're going to pay, and then they don't include loans in their package. They only include grants. So those tend to be cheaper than other schools. And there's also 100% financial aid schools are ones that will let you go through a process of loans and grants. So you'll be guaranteed that you'll be able to go based on how much you or your family can afford on the FAFSA.
One thing, since we're talking about finances, it's also good to look at tuition, how they charge you for each of the credits, because schools, they'll put like a certain flat rate for this many credits. If you go above it, they won't charge you anymore and you can still take it. So that is usually helpful, but depending on your capabilities, naturally. Do not take more classes than you can handle. It is not worth it, but you can usually plan something out with those kinds of rates in mind, and that may help you in your financial aid journey.
On the topic of financial aid, one thing I also want to talk about is like scholarships. Make sure like just like how you would apply for like as many colleges as you can, like apply for as many like scholarships as you can, because you may not know like your family can like if your family can pay for it, and you don't want to make your family pay for it. So like just apply for as many scholarships as you can. Like for example, like our school had like a spreadsheet of like a whole bunch of scholarships. Guys, I'll be honest, we ran out of storage. But as I was saying, scholarships, bro.
Apply to all of them.
Apply to all of them. Apply to all of them.
Not a single one should be left unapplied.
Nope. Get those recommenders. Ask them early too.
Even if you don't think you can get it, apply for it.
Grab for the ones, bro. It stacks up, bro. 500, 500, 500, 500, 500. That's
all of
three.
a sudden, 2 billion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
5 million, bro. Your whole college paid for. You got extras up. You got leftovers, bro. Eat. And honestly, just apply for the scholarships, bro. And I'm be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. IB squad out.
Wait, we gotta do it. IB squad out.
Ouch.